Interest rates have risen by about 2% over the last 2 years, and our inflation is at a 40-year high. All of these things point to a housing market crash, right? Well, if you read the headlines on any of the internet stories, you would think that is exactly where we're headed. However, we are still stuck in this major supply and demand issue that doesn't show signs of loosening up anytime soon. So therefore, I don't see prices changing all that much. There are really only a few things that could affect our supply issue that we have right now. And we're going to go through some of those things and see where do we stand on all of them. Now, the first one is foreclosures. And this has been talked about for a really long time. I mean, ever since we had that crash in 2008 and foreclosures became kind of the norm for a few years, people really feel like we're going to get back there. And with forbearance, everyone thought that was really going to shift our market. And once the forbearance thing ended, everyone was going to see a flood of foreclosures yet again. And again, if we go back to the headlines and you're reading anything that says that foreclosures are up 100% since last year, well, foreclosures weren't allowed last year, so it's not surprising. But be careful of those headlines. So we've talked about the forbearance issue and what has happened in a few of my other videos. And really what happened is that those people that needed the forbearance program, they got into that program. But what's happened since then, they've either gotten out, they've done a refinance, or they've done a modification with their lending company, or they've sold their house. So the millions and millions of people that had utilized that forbearance program are now out. And there's a very, very limited amount that are still left in that forbearance program. So that wave of foreclosures that everyone thought that was going to come after forbearance, it's just not there. Many wanted to liken the whole forbearance issue to the run-up before the crash of our housing market in 2008. And they want to talk about all of the houses that are going to be in foreclosure. So let's take a look at the notice of trustee sale for the last 25 years here in the Phoenix Scottsdale area. As you can see, there were more foreclosures before the crash ever even happened than we have right now. So again, I say to those buyers that are sitting on the sidelines saying, nope, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wait for those foreclosures to come rolling in. I just don't see it coming. People currently have more equity in their homes than they have since about the 1980s at 65% equity. That's a great thing for home ownership. So if anybody needs to sell their house, they're going to be selling it at market value and not a distressed value price. So the next thing that could change our inventory is new construction. And yes, we do have more permits that are being issued. However, in the Phoenix Scottsdale area, we have more multifamily permits being issued than single family permits being issued. So although new construction can bring new inventory, in a lot of the Phoenix Scottsdale areas, part of the other problem is the lack of land. We just don't have a lot of land to build any new big subdivisions. So what we are seeing is infill properties being purchased. What does that mean? It means that maybe they're buying an old apartment complex, or maybe they're buying a smaller chunk of land and then they're demolishing, if anything is there, and rebuilding there. So in the grand scheme of things, we are only getting maybe a handful, give or take, of homes in those little infill properties if they're doing single family homes. Now, again, we have more multifamily permits being issued, so some of those infill areas are being utilized for multifamily. Multifamily is great, but there are a lot of people that are really looking for single family, and so that becomes the rub with what we have available. And then you add on top of it all the supply chain issues and the cost, and it's just making it harder and harder for these builders to keep up, let alone get ahead. Here's what's happening currently with some of the new home construction. So I have a client that was interested in a new home construction subdivision. What happened was that I got notified that they were releasing 6. They gave everybody 2 days to come and look at them while they're under construction. You could also look at the models that they have, but they were likely not the model of the home that you were looking at. You could also look at the finishes in a different model of the home that you would potentially be purchasing. You have no choice in any of the selections in the home. You have no choice of anything. You had 4 days, and at the end of the 4 days, you had to have your offer in. They wanted your highest and best offer. I was there day 2. I asked the agent, how many offers do you had? They had over 30, and they were almost $500,000 higher than the price that they had originally started with. This is the kind of thing that we're seeing for new home construction to keep up. Because inevitably I'm asked, why can't I pick anything? These builders cannot take the chance that a buyer goes into their design center and picks something that's maybe back ordered. Maybe it's not back ordered now, but it's going to be. They just can't risk it. They are buying in bulk. They are doing the best that they can to buy what is really on trend right now. And that's what they're putting in the houses so that they can actually close and deliver these houses to home buyers. And then they'll move on to the next group. Now, when you're talking to a buyer about new home construction and this is what they are presented with, they get a little bit bummed out because one of the things that they love about new home construction is the ability to go into the design center and actually make all of those selections for themselves. A lot of builders just aren't allowing that right now. Some are, but the majority of them just aren't. And again, this is one of the ways that builders can actually try to stay up a little bit on providing more inventory into the market so that buyers can actually get homes. So although the new home construction builders are doing everything that they can to actually put homes out into the market, let's put this into perspective. Now, this is nationwide, okay? So builders would have to add 500 to 600,000 additional homes into the market for 10 years for them to keep up and add the amount of supply that we are needing right now. So it is going to take time to get those homes into the market. So overall, new home construction is not a quick fix to fix our supply problems. So the next issue that we have right now is we have sellers. Sellers want to sell because they want to buy something new, but they just don't know where they're going to buy. And where they maybe want to buy has no inventory. So they just sit and they wait. So we have less seller inventory coming into the market for resale purchase so that buyers would have something to purchase. It's really a catch-22 right now with sellers that want to sell but can't find where they're going to go. Or if they want to go someplace specific, there are no homes for them to purchase. The other thing that comes up for sellers right now is that over the last year, we had a 32% appreciation in a lot of areas in our Phoenix, Scottsdale area. So they're looking at that as well. They know that maybe it's going to start to slow, although it's not slowing very quickly. And they look at the interest rates that have risen as well. So they have to look at everything as a whole and make the decision that is best for them. Do I still sell? Do I still buy? What is the right choice for them? And sometimes the right choice is not to sell. So with all that, what does that mean? It means that sellers aren't going to be helping to increase our supply either. And now buyers, as our interest rates start to rise, will they start to sit on the sidelines again? So will the decreased demand really help increase our supply? As of right now, that's just not happening. And what we're really seeing is that although maybe our demand is starting to wane just a little bit, our supply is going down faster. So we are not feeling any change in the marketplace. I believe with this, we are going to have to see a much more significant decrease in demand before that inventory supply can start to increase. Now, something I talked about in just my last video is the rental market. We are starting to see the rental market inventory increase quite significantly, actually. And could that be a telltale sign? So if the rental inventory gets so high that the demand just isn't there and owners of these investment properties have to sit without tenants in the homes, could they put those homes back on the market to sell them and take advantage of the appreciation that they've gotten? Maybe. However, again, our supply is still so low that just that trickle of maybe rentals coming back into the sales market, it's just not going to affect it all that much because it's going to get snatched up so fast, we're not going to see the difference. So what's really going to change the dynamic of our market? The things we just went over: foreclosures, new construction, sellers, buyers, and possibly investors putting their houses back on the market for sale if they can't find a tenant. And this is how it's been for the past year, 18 months. And none of these things have happened and nothing has changed our supply problem. We've just continued to have the same problem with not enough homes on the market to sell. And higher interest rates, which people really felt would change the market drastically, hasn't happened either. So that's not changing our market. Inevitably, our market will slow. The question is when. I don't think it's going to happen this year. I do think it could happen into next year. But what I do think we'll see is we'll just start to see a flattening. Will home prices decrease significantly? I don't see it. I just see our appreciation starting to slow. But again, the first thing we're going to have to see is we're going to have to see an increase in our supply. And we just don't see that coming. I have buyers I'm currently working with right now, and they know that they have missed that 30% appreciation over the last 18 months. but they are not willing to wait on the sidelines any longer. They are ready to get in, secure a home so that they can start appreciating their home value. Because until we get a big influx of supply, buyers are still going to have to compete for the homes that are on the market, which means home prices are just going to continue to increase. Now, I know that this is what I do for a living, and so most people expect me to try to convince them to buy now or sell now because it's going to be beneficial for me, but that's not the case at all. I can honestly tell you that I have conversations like this every day with my clients, and for some, it is absolutely not the right time to sell or buy. For others, it is the perfect time. So every single person's perspective and every single person's kind of end goal is different. You have to look at it all before you make the decision. So now I really want to ask you a question. Where do you see our supply coming from? I really want to know. Is there anything that you think I missed in this video? I don't think I did, but if there is, I want to know what you think. I hope this was helpful. If I can answer any other questions, please feel free. Reach out, call me, email me, text me, post a comment down below. Don't forget to hit that like button and share this with anyone you think that it would be beneficial for. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.